Hey, hello guys, and welcome to a Festive Weekly Watches. I have watched of the movies. I'm not going to cut a few out that I watched because they're not of that ilk. I've watched five Christmas movies in the last week, new ones, and also Wonka, so I'll talk a little bit about that. So let's get kicked off with some new Christmas movies I watched so you don't have to. Okay folks, first off is a new one on Netflix, I believe, called Family Switch. I've just got my laptop here guys, so forgive me for looking down at it. I watched this one because we've got Jennifer Garner and Ed Helms in it, so I thought this is bound to be decent. So, the Walker family is about to change lives, literally. When the Walker family members switch bodies with each other during a rare planetary alignment, their hilarious journey to find their way back to the normal will bring them closer together than they ever thought possible. This is the usual switcheroo film, like Freaky Friday, like all that kind of thing. So we have the daughter switch with the mother and the son switch with the father. Very similar to the kind of thing that you'll have seen before. But also what they do that's a little bit different is the baby, like the toddler, switches with the dog. Now, so that was the only laugh that it got out of me. It was CGI was used, which was pretty bad, but it was still kind of funny. You're not going to have anything new here that you haven't seen before. It was very, very predictable. The acting was fine. But I think maybe I've seen too many of these films. My issue was that every single member of the family had to have something absolutely major happening on exactly the same day or the same 2 days. The mother had the biggest business meeting of her life where she might get me a partner. The daughter had the most important football match of her life where a scout was there to watch her play. The son, what was the son doing? It's so interesting, I forgot it. He had an interview for, was it Yale University? It was a really like big time university, and the father had a performance with a band that he's in. So everyone had this massive big happening, and it's like, really? It just was beyond the realms. Okay, people switching is kind of beyond the realms of possibility, but you know what's going to happen when the movie starts. Everything's going to turn out a-okay. You know, they're going to discover all this stuff about themselves. You just kind of know where it's going. It was more of the same. When things happened, it was like, oh god, it was just eyeball rolling for me. Although I have heard quite a few other people have really enjoyed this, so maybe it's just my cynical, oh for Christ's sake, I don't know. Incidentally, I love Christmas, so it's not that I'm not a fan of Christmas. So that's Family Switch. I gave it a 1.5 out of 5. Next was Candy Cane Lane. This is the new one on, I think this may be on Prime, with Eddie Murphy. Be careful what you wish for. A man determined to win the neighbourhood's annual Christmas decorating contest, does that sound familiar from another Christmas movie, makes a pact with an elf to help him win. However, the elf casts a spell, bringing the 12 days of Christmas to life, bringing chaos to the small, unsuspecting town. Now, let me say before I start that I am in a camp, it seems all on my own, of really not liking Eddie Murphy very much. I don't find him funny. I don't mind him too much if he's not playing that zany, grinning idiot that he tends to play. He wasn't too bad in this, as in his character, his acting. It didn't really irritate me. The film I didn't really enjoy. It's been done before, it's been done much better. The characters in other movies you really warm to. You like find the competition between neighbours decorating their homes really funny. In this, it was almost an incidental, although he ends up in the position he is in due to wanting to have the best decorated house. It was quite interesting how they bring the 12 days of Christmas into this. It was very novel. He has to set out on a quest to find a certain number of rings. And if he manages to do this, he can break the spell that has been cast. What can I say about this movie? It was predictable. It was beautiful to look at. It was very Christmassy to look at. Some of the ideas were really novel and interesting, and I liked them. There was nothing wrong with any of the performances. I think overall for this, the best thing is how it looks. It looks absolutely amazing. But again, the same with Family Switch. It had this syrupy... Sometimes it works, but it's really hard to get sentimentality right, I feel. I feel that I've seen some movies like Spanish movies and they just spot on with it, fantastic, brilliant, but I think English, or should I say British and American movies sometimes struggle to get the sentimentality to the right level without going overboard and without showing us something we've seen 100 times before. I gave it a 2 out of 5. It wasn't for me, but like I say, I am not a fan of Eddie Murphy, but this movie looks absolutely beautiful, very, very Christmassy. There's 3 people I know have seen it. A 3 out of 5, a 3.5 out of 5, and a 3 out of 5, so they all enjoyed it more than I did. Okay, we're on to Wonka, the saving grace of the week. So, I hear this is getting pretty bad reviews, which I'm not understanding, but so I went to see Wonka at the cinema for like a belated birthday treat. I went to Belfast to see it. I absolutely adore the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Gene Wilder, and this obviously is a prequel, so we get to see Willy Wonka as he was as a young man. There are some things, if you're very aware of the original, which don't quite fit with what he's doing, where he goes, what he did, that isn't right with the history of the original Willy Wonka, but I don't think that really matters. Timothée Chalamet is fantastic in this. He gets the role perfectly. He has obviously watched a lot of footage of Gene Wilder and the way he walks and the way he moves his cane, the way he like flicks his coat and stuff. He has got it spot on. I didn't know this was a musical until about 2 days before I went to see it, and my husband detests musicals, and I thought, oh no. But it wasn't over the top musical. If you're not a fan of musicals, everything isn't sung. There are a few songs in it, like with the original Willy Wonka, like with things like Mary Poppins. There are musical numbers, but there's also acting and dialogue that isn't sung. This looked amazing. As I say, Timothée Chalamet was fantastic. The other characters that are brought into this along with him are all fantastic. I really loved them. I loved Olivia Colman in this. I thought she was fabulous. She plays a really horrible, nasty, villainous woman that I'm not going to tell you what she's done and why she's horrible. I don't like to give any spoilers, but basically this movie is just following a very young Willy Wonka as he arrives in a big city to try and make his fortune selling chocolate. And we get a backstory on why he is where he is, what's happened in his life previous. There is a bit of a tragedy in his life that's really sad. I did cry multiple times watching this. There is a scene with flamingos and balloons and a rooftop, which is just magical, which I loved. I really, really loved that scene. If you've seen it, you will know what I'm talking about. It looked fabulous. No problems with the acting performances, the singing performances, nothing about this was bad. There was one particular song from the original. Now this is maybe a kind of spoiler. I'm just going to talk about a song and where it is. That's all I'm going to do. There is a song on the original Willy Wonka. Is it called Wild Imagination? You know, the one that goes, "Come with me and you'll see." That one. And I'm going all the way through this thinking, where is this? So please use this song. And there is this scene where the church bells are playing it in the background. There is so many little nods to the original Willy Wonka. It's just beautiful. And then the song is actually used in the movie quite late on. And the use of it's fantastic. I have no complaints. I give this a 4 out of 5. I really, really, really enjoyed it. 4 is a pretty high score for me. Very few things gets a 5. Muppets Christmas Carol is one of those things. So I would thoroughly recommend Wonka. I loved it. Let me see other people. Oh, there's some people that did not like this. So we have Mike, not a fan Mike. Mike gave it a 2 out of 5. Sarah, 4 out of 5, same as myself. Nathandan, I apologise massively if I'm pronouncing that wrong. 4.5 out of 5, he loved it. Alex, 4 out of 5, and Austin Burke, 4 out of 5. So I think for the most part, most people really enjoyed that. So it's a thumbs up from me for Wonka. Next, I watched Best Christmas Ever, which I believe is on Netflix at the moment. Again, the cast of this was really interesting for me. We had Heather Graham, Jason Biggs, right, that's the main two I know. Brandy Norwood and Matt Cedeno, I'm not that familiar with. So this is a story about Heather Graham's character and her husband, who are meant to be going to stay with her family for Christmas. And a bit of a mix-up happens. I won't explain why, but she ends up at the house of someone she went to school with that has made it in life, that has got a beautiful home. Everything looks absolutely fantastic. She's a really nice woman as well. They get there, they go in to spend the evening because it's quite late, and overnight a massive snowstorm happens, so they get stuck with this family for Christmas, or for the few days leading up to Christmas. And it's basically the story about their past, them at school. It turns out that this friend of hers actually dated her husband once upon a time. They were in a band together. It basically follows Heather Graham's character trying to prove that there is something untoward about this ex-friend of hers, that everything looks too good to be true. There has to be problems, there has to be issues, and she's determined to find these and bring these to light. That her life and herself and her relationship, and none of that is perfect. So that is the story. I'm seeing there from, I give it a 2 out of 5. I'm seeing there 4 people I know with a 2, a 1.5, a 2.5 and a 1. So I don't think very many people were a fan of this one. I will say I probably slightly preferred this to Candy Cane Lane. It's maybe on par with Candy Cane Lane, and I did prefer it to Family Switch. There was nothing wrong with the acting performances. I especially liked Brandy Norwood in this. I thought she was fantastic. It was an okay movie, what can I say? It passed a bit of time. It wasn't fantastic. It's certainly not going to be up there with the Home Alones and the Jingle All the Ways and the Elves. You know, the stuff that you put on every Christmas and you love. It's not going to be one of those movies, guys. 2 out of 5 for me for best Christmas ever. So on the same evening, now this was probably, there were 2 of the Christmas movies I watched that I gave 3s to, and this is one of them, so this would be one of my preferences. So I'm not going to try and pronounce that. So Christmas as usual. To celebrate their engagement, Thea takes Jasan home, but his Indian roots and her family's Norwegian traditions clash in a chaotic Christmas. So there are a few movies like this with different traditions coming together. I actually quite enjoyed this one. I thought the relationship was really sweet. I loved both main characters. She takes her Indian boyfriend home. Her mother is not even aware that her boyfriend is Indian, is a bit shocked by it. She's not racist, but I think she has a very set idea in her mind of where she sees her daughter. Her daughter for 5 years dated their neighbour, who's a very typical Norwegian boy that the mother loves. She sees her daughter with this guy. It's kind of like a censored version of Meet the Parents. That's what it's like. So the mother's determined this relationship really isn't going to work. Also, her brother is there, and her brother's wife and the kid. There are quite a few situations where Jasan puts his foot in it accidentally and causes chaos. In one scene, he makes a massive big curry dinner. But in Norway, there are very, very specific Christmas traditions. They have a thing called Teeny Tiny Christmas, then they have Tiny Christmas, then they celebrate their Christmas on Christmas Eve for us. And these traditions are very special to the family. And basically, Jashan accidentally steps into this and messes everything up, and it doesn't go down very well. I liked the acting. I loved the setting of Norway. I just thought it was a nice little film. I did enjoy it. I gave it a 3 out of 5, and I would recommend if you like a Christmas movie. It didn't make me feel that nauseating, like, oh, you know, it just didn't make me feel that. And the last one, I watched last night. Kind of cheating here because this is Tuesday, so I've gone over my weekly watches. Genie. Okay. So, Flora is a genie trapped for more than 2,000 years inside an antique jewellery box. She's accidentally called to service by Bernard, whose life is unravelling around him. Now, before we start, I'm kind of unusual here as well. Most people love Eddie Murphy, but most people don't really like Melissa McCarthy, and I do. I really enjoy Melissa McCarthy. I think it's very sad that she doesn't get more serious roles because, as she has proven, she is a fantastic actress when she gets the chance. In this, she has the very similar type of role that she normally plays, that sort of zany, slightly mad, you know, cuckoo lady. She is the genie, and unlike other genies, it's not a case of 3 wishes, it's a case of unlimited wishes. This guy's life is basically imploding upon itself. He is a workaholic. He is due to go to his daughter's birthday, and I think it's inferred that he has always put work first in the past, and his boss comes in with an extremely important client as he's leaving to go to his daughter's birthday, and as you would expect, he misses his daughter's birthday to do what his boss has asked him. His boss is really demanding, horrible guy, and he has to show this important client an idea he has. Misses his daughter's birthday, and his wife is like, right, that is enough, I need some time to myself, we're going to stay with my mum. And basically this guy's life is just falling apart around him. He accidentally finds this genie, and it's a story about realisation and awakening, and it is very, what way can we put this? There are certain things that aren't very believable. Now, if you're watching this now, be honest. If you had a genie, one of the first things you're going to wish for is like to win the lottery or to have a lovely house. I'll admit, I want to win the lottery. I want to live in a nice big house. That's my first two wishes. But this movie is kind of taking another. Obviously, because this guy's life is going so wrong, his first thought is, I want my wife back. But the wishes don't work like that. You can't affect another person's feelings about yourself. You can't go back in time. You can't time travel, all this kind of stuff. So he can't achieve that. He can achieve material things. He can achieve silly things, but not so much completely changing another person's feelings about you. But I found Melissa McCarthy really funny in this. I really liked all of the characters. I like how we ended up with the movie. I have heard it said that it isn't entirely predictable. Now, what he does at the end of this movie, I 100% would have done the same thing that he did at the end of the movie, but I do feel that most people would be a little bit more selfish than he was. Everything that he did was not for himself, it was for his daughter and his wife. So yeah, I think most of us would be a little bit more selfish, but it's kind of like Christmas movies like to do, to show you how really you should look at things, how you shouldn't be selfish. I'd probably still be selfish, it has to be said. But yeah, Genie, I did enjoy it. I would recommend it. I thought it was a really nice little film. I gave it a 3 out of 5, guys. So that is, how many is that? 6, but that includes Wonka, which is obviously not a Christmas movie. So yeah, that's it, guys. A few doozies and a couple of half-decent movies there. So if there's anything that you would recommend for me to watch that's new this Christmas, please let me know. I know there are a few more that I haven't seen, but they just look. There's one called A Catering Christmas. It's like, what the hell's that all about? But let me know if there's anything you think I should check out, guys. I will be watching the usual classics closer to Christmas. Muppets Christmas Carol, Elf, Home Alone, It's a Wonderful Life. I will be watching all of those. There probably are more I just can't think of right now. I will watch as many versions of A Christmas Carol as you can throw at me because I absolutely love the movie. So thank you for watching this festive episode, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you've seen any of the movies I've spoken about, or if there's any other Christmas movies you would recommend to me. This Friday I'm going to see a screening of Krampus that Fright Club Northern Ireland are putting on. I have seen the movie multiple times. I love it. My husband's seen it, my son's seen it, but we're all going to go see it again for a celebration Christmas. Another little recommendation I would give to you horror fans for a horror Christmas movie is Rare Exports, which is probably my favourite horror Christmas movie, but Muppets Christmas Carol tops them all for me. It's number 1. So thanks for watching, guys. Off I shall trot, and I shall see you next week for hopefully another Weekly Watches. Over and out from Lisa Lives.